that
Absolutely. We
yeah.
love the deflection and the rationalization. But so yeah, that those were starting to come around, and working this job and stuff. So like I got into this motorcycle accident where like it was completely illegal. Wasn't supposed to be driving, didn't have a license, and I'm working for the IT company, and I'm already partying pretty heavy with the drugs and the cocaine, or the cocaine and the alcohol. And so like I get in this accident, and they give me a 30-day prescription for like oxycontin, like pure oxys too. Like looking back, I'm like, and they're like, take them while you're rehabbing, and at the end of the 30 days you'll be all right. Well, at the end of 30 days it wasn't okay. Like, and at this point, like I did take it as recommended because like I wasn't into pills, and man, I remember like the first day or two after like that script ran out, like feeling like I had the flu. So like I think I remember calling into work, and then like just being like sick. I mean sick. And one of my friends, one of my good friends came over, and they're like, dude, you're not sick, man. Like you're taking those pills and you're in withdrawal. I'm like, what's withdrawal? And like I had to look it up, So he's like, take this and you'll feel better. So like he gave me something, and I was like, wow, I feel amazing, and like that was like, forget Coke at this point, forget alcohol. Like I didn't need either one. Like I always needed the alcohol to kind of set up the Coke. I'd feel like kind of sketchy and wiry if I just was doing Coke all the time. So the alcohol was like the antidepressant to balance it out, But man, with this stuff, man, I just felt like amazing all the time. Like I remember like the first couple times, and again, I try not to get in the euphoric recall, but I think it's important to realize like how deceiving it can be, because like I feel like that today without any of that stuff, but like I just had to do a little work on myself. But man, and I remember like I'd be scratching so hard that I would literally like draw blood, like getting the itches from it. But yeah, it was a painkiller, a heavy opioid, Oxycontin. Yep. And all of a sudden, man, again, like there's this boom where everybody wants it. So like it didn't go from like me just helping people out, which I've always done, being able to find drugs and stuff, but like, man, the profit margins were so big that like we started like really starting selling, and like we were going down into Pennsylvania to some of the colleges. Like one friend had a girl at Gannon, another friend had people down at Erie, and like, man, I was selling for $1 a milligram back in mid 2000s when I was only paying like $10-15 a pill. So like the profit margins were huge. And like I don't know, that was always like the excitement behind it, like you're doing something wrong, or like more so for me, I think it was people. I had something people wanted. People I felt needed me, So like again, always those ulterior motives are like, I'm important, Like I walk into a party and everyone stops what they're doing because they know that I got what they want, and that I don't know. I always needed that to feel valid, I guess.
Yeah. So now you're not only using, but you're starting to sell. And I guess I was wondering, what are some of the really crazy or hard hitting stories that you've seen? Because you've told me a couple of them, and they're intense, to say the least.
So like I know this much, when it got to the point where like I was just using the oxys recreationally, like people immediately saw the difference. Like I mean, like I've never taken steroids, but like people have told me that like they go into like this roid rage, and like I would fly off the handle. Like I remember getting into fights, and like I'm not really one to fight, but like at bars with bouncers, man, and like it was just craziness. And I remember like getting into a fight down in the city with like 30 kids one night, like just out of the ordinary stuff. And at this point, like associating with people that are carrying guns, therefore I want to carry guns to feel that level of security, or to like show you I'm just as bad as you and tough as you, like just ridiculous stuff. And I've been to spots before, and this was a little bit later on, but this one time always stuck out to me where like these people wanted to cop so bad, and like, man, I'd go right to people's houses. Like I didn't even care. Like I went out and got that money, and man, like they must have been toddlers, like 1 to 3 years old, and I literally remember them like, I don't remember like what they did to tie up their hands, but I specifically remember them putting like the duct tape over their mouths and putting them in the closet so they weren't whining while they were getting high, you know, because I literally like gave them the pill and they couldn't even move. They had to like do it right there on the counter, and like, yeah, that sticks out to me big time. But like where I was at in life too, you know, like I had some stuff happen with me and my family that, looking back, I think again there was something greater than myself trying to give me these signs and signals that I just needed to stop. And it's really hard for me to talk about this again because, like, again, even as an addict, I always have that fear of being judged or being stigmatized, but I've accepted it today, you know, and I'm okay with it. But so when I moved into this apartment at Alexander and Park and Alexander, I was living with a girl, and the realtor was set up where you had to sign on for either a year, 6 months, or a month-to-month lease. But regardless of what you signed, you were responsible for the remainder of it. So me and the girl only lasted a couple months. She moved out. I was making plenty of good money between the IT stuff and selling the pills on the side. And there was only 3 units. There was my unit on the first floor, which was a 2-bedroom. There was a 3-bedroom above me, and then I don't know what they call those single apartments, but
like a loft or...
Yeah, but they call them something else, and I just can't think of the name of them. But like where there's like just a bathroom and everything else is connected.
Oh, like in the efficiency or...
Something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
but
I
yeah.
just can't think of the name of it. But so these 2 girls move in above me, and like I remember like helping them move in because like the one girl, her and her boyfriend were doing all the work, and like I was helping them, you know, being a people pleaser, trying to be neighborly, whatever. And like I never saw the other roommate. And so, like, the weekend after they moved in, I was throwing parties anyway, but, like, I had a big party, and I was like, come on down, you know. So, like, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, and then the roommate all came down, and, like, the roommate was only there for, like, 3 minutes and then left. Like, just weird. Like, I did not get a good vibe from her at all. And then, like, let's fast forward, like, a month or so, and, like, me and the one roommate that I did have contact with, we were on the same work schedule, so we'd always smoke a cigarette in the morning on the porch. And I was like, where is your roommate? And she's like, oh, she's crazy, dude. Like, literally, she's crazy. We got into a fight, and I kicked her out. Never gave it another thought. Well, fast forward, like, another month, and I've got these two detectives knocking on the door of my apartment. And at this time, like, my drug use has picked up a little bit. I'm definitely selling. And, like, the detectives answer the door. And go figure, like, my parents are gone. They're, like, on vacation somewhere. I don't know if they were at the cottage or out of the country. I don't know what they were doing, but, like, I've had very little police involvement at this point, like other than getting pulled over for some driving stuff, like I mentioned earlier on, or getting into fights. Like no heavy police involvement with anything that I've been doing. And so, like to keep to remember as much as I can about it, like she was like the detectives were like, well, we've got this story from this girl, and we want to get your side of it. And like I'm like, okay. They're like, can we come in? I'm like, well, can you tell me anything more about it? And they're like, yeah, she's crazy, and we just want your side of it. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, do I need an attorney or something? Like, well, not if you know, like how detectives probably are if you've never had any experience. But like, no, if you haven't done anything wrong, just let us, we just want to hear you talk. I was like, okay. So they come in and it immediately takes this different turn. Like, and I probably was, again, this is when I was doing the oxy. So like, even me, I was like, this is going in a different direction. I'm like, I want to talk to an attorney, or I want to wait till my parents get back, whatever. But like, the details of it were this. So like, the girls had signed a year lease, just like I had. They moved in, let's just say for timing's sake, they moved in July. By August, that girl had told me that her and her friend got into a crazy fight and they were gone. Well, now this is like the end of August or September. So the detectives pretty much tell me that this girl called the police and said that I had followed her to a party on Park Ave and had sexually assaulted her, right? Like assault in the third or whatever. I'm like, okay, when? Like, because I've been here all week. I was with my girlfriend, a new girlfriend at this point. They're like, no, this was a month ago. I'm like, so you're coming to me on August 4th saying that something happened July 4th. I'm getting the dates wrong, but like just to lay out the story for you. They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, what? They're like, well, we need to take you down to the station, ask you some questions. I was like, I think I need an attorney, And I don't know if that was the wrong thing to say or they just got a weird vibe, but like she had also told them that I'd been selling oxys out of the apartment. So like I don't know if they were looking more at it from that, but like man, I remember like just all of that fear in my life coming back because like regardless how many criminals say they didn't do it, like I really had nothing to do with this girl, you know. And luckily, like the people around me, my family knew that I've never been in that position, you know, female wise. I'm sorry if that sounds conceited, but like I've never had to force myself on anybody. So yeah, so like my parents are on vacation, and like for the next week, I don't know what to do. I've never had to get an attorney. It was always set up for me through the courts or through my family for like the DWIs. So like I just know that across the street, man, like they started like watching my house. Like they were watching me every move I made. So it made it very difficult to do deals, you know, like, and at this point I'm thinking it's like CSI, they got my phone bugged and everything. So I'm like doing nothing. And the next part really like nothing came about, you know, like they'd found me here and there. And then like let's fast forward a week. So, and I haven't given them anything because like I haven't done anything wrong, and I don't want to incriminate myself, or maybe I'm thinking about what I see in movies. I don't know what to do. Next thing I know, it's the weekend, and I'm getting out of the shower in a towel and my flip flops, and I have like one buddy there, and we're about to have a party. And
oh, you got a meeting? Till what time? Okay.
So.
Just pardon the little interruption, but we'll keep on with the story.
Yeah, we'll keep going. So like, because now we're at the meet, right? Like, so like, I'm getting out of the shower in my towel and flip flops, and my buddy's like, "Dude, there's dudes with guns on your front lawn." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I'm like, "What do you mean, man?" And I literally like the very next second, both my front door and back door to my apartment get kicked in by SWAT team. So like, they come running in, man. No F's given. They are like. They throw me down, they lock, you know, they put everything on me. And, like, I just remember these two detectives, right? Because, like, it was probably the scariest point of my life up until that point. And they're like, "Let's see you get out of this one." I just remember them continuously saying that to me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man, because I really haven't done anything wrong. So they take me to jail, man. They throw me in jail. And, like, again, like, other than, like, the drug use and the drug deals at this point, which is not what they're mentioning, like, I haven't done what they're talking about. And, yeah, man, they threw me in jail. Like, Monroe County Jail is no joke, you know? Like, my first night in there, I specifically remember being in there with, like, this gorilla motherfucker, and he's just smashing his head against the wall, dude, butt naked, you know? Like, I was scared. And so and they're not polite at all. Like they're judging me right from the start, saying I did this. So like my parents, you know, thank God my friends are like trying to reach out to my parents, and like he's in trouble, blah blah. So like let's just fast forward through a little bit more comes to light. And what had happened is going back to those ironclad leases from Park Ave. I probably shouldn't mention the realty company, but like the realtor, if you couldn't pay for the year, you could sublease. If not, you owed them the money. Mm-hmm. So let's say that this arrest happened like August. July 6th, like a week after those two girls moved in, my lawyer was able to track down the realtor, and the one girl, or maybe both of them together, had gone in and said, "Look, this isn't working out. We can't live together." And the realtor was like, "Then go find someone to sublease your apartment." They clearly thought that saying I did this was a better way out because they got the restraining order. And they knew that I had been selling drugs, you know what I mean? Yep. But like they tended to go further and you know do that defamation of character to a different degree. And it was really difficult because again, the point I'm getting at is like my life was so chaotic with the drug use and the clubs and the selling and the job I was trying to maintain. So like when I got arrested August 4th and had to remember what I did July 4th, like there was no way I'm going to backtrack a month, you know?
Right.
Luckily for me, I had been seeing a new girl. And I had picked her up in Buffalo that day with her friend, like 3 friends, like me, the girl. I don't know if it was her mother, but her mother was aware of it because she had come back from Virginia. And luckily, like, they had me on camera because, like, this girl had said I followed her to some freaking party on Park Ave, which people don't get sexually assaulted on Park Ave. Maybe they do.
Well, that's a tough, that's a sticky subject to say because it can happen anywhere, unfortunately.
But this is like the Pittsburgh area,
right.
Like,
but there definitely isn't a particular area that it happens.
She picked a poor area to say it happened in, you know what I mean?
But
it's not like she said it happened like at my apartment or hers. Like she picked like the high end part of Rochester that it happened. Regardless, And luckily, this girl that I was seeing and her friend stayed at my apartment that night. So not only did they have me from the airport footage, but I had two people that were with me. So literally, I would have had to have left